come and join this global march. This is a global day of action. It was happening all around the world this weekend, and it's still taking place as we speak. And so I was in touch with the organisers in Dublin and in Galway and in Belfast, and people are all over the country taking action today as well. There was at the moment about 3,000 people on the streets of Dublin City and about 300 people in the streets of Galway.
Woo!
So, people have travelled very far as well to come here today. There's people coming from Skibbereen and Bantry and as far as Tralee today.
Woo!
That's a proof that people are demanding action, and we demand climate justice now, and we will not be silenced. Starting tomorrow and for the next 2 weeks, world leaders have agreed, they have to agree on a legal binding document that will decide our future. And while in Paris, marching has been banned following the tragic incident of November 13th, we are here to raise our voices because we don't trust our leaders to lead and decide for us.
Well said, well said.
We are here today to remind them that we the people know what climate science demands. We know the facts. But keeping 80% of fossil fuels in the ground and to keep the planet below 2 degrees warming requires system change. But our leaders, they continue time and time again to disappoint us, as they have done so far for the past 20 conferences. They have failed to take action in the face of the urgence of climate change. We are here to tell them today, we demand action now. We want a better future for our children. We want a just transition to a carbon-free future.
Well said, girls.
And whatever action, individual action we take today, and all of us, we do that, we can try and reduce our own carbon footprint. And it's a step forward, but it's not enough.
Thank you.
Our leaders have the power to make the decisions for us, and we need them to do that. We need them to realize the huge potential that transitioning to a carbon-free future means for the planet and for the communities that will benefit from it. We need access to clean, renewable energy, where energy is owned by and benefits the community. We need to keep fossil fuels in the ground, and that means we can't continue exploring for more gas and oil on our coast. And we want our leaders to have a serious look at our agricultural sectors, because we know that conventional farming emits the most greenhouse gases in Ireland. And so, we need to resist the ideology of capitalism and its central premise of endless growth in order to collectively remember that another world is possible, one beyond carbon and the growth model. And I'm so grateful that everyone here is here today to be part of this global movement. In the name of People's Planet Ireland, I want to thank all the other organisations who are here to organise the march and this gathering today. So I think I want to thank Bernie, of course, from the Cork Environmental Forum, and Sheila Dillon and all at Trucker, and Frank and Eileen in Social Health Education Project in Ballincollig, and all the guys at UCC Environmental Society and UCC Green Campus. And my own college folks from King's South College who are holding the banners. So I'll just leave it at that, but I just want to say the general election is coming up in the spring, and we have the power. Yeah. It's up to us to talk to the politicians as they come on our doorstep and make sure that climate change is the biggest issue. Thank you.
I would say I was very impressed by the enthusiasm and articulate contribution of these young people that we have been listening to for the last little while. I represent the other end of the spectrum of life, and happy to be there and happy to have survived as far as this. I live in a rural idyll, really, up in Mayfield, on the Northeast Rural Treehouse, in which we see very clearly the combination of environment and faith, the combination of environment and spirituality is something that is very closely united. And in doing that and implementing a vision and a way of life in which spirituality and environment are linked together in the lovely gardens we have. So we are very close really in the spirit of Jesus Christ, because if you read, when you read Gospels, you read of Jesus going into temples and synagogues, but when Jesus wanted to pray, he went invariably into the countryside, into a pure environment, and there, to the whisper of the wind and the murmur of the waters and the sound of the word, he communed with his Father. Like we live in a very critical moment in human history. It is said often enough that the generations now alive are the ones who have seen clearly the disastrous consequences of the decline in environment and the destruction of environment. And also, the generations now alive are the only ones who can do anything about it. Because if action is not taken now, the next generations, the generations to come, will not listen to the birds in spring, will not look at the butterflies in summer, will not harvest the fruit of the earth in autumn. So much of our world will be looted and destroyed. And it is both a moral and a religious issue, as well as an issue of sheer survival. Because after all, it is nothing but avarice and greed that drives people to pollute the atmosphere, to recklessly contaminate the environment which we live in. It is pure greed. It is utter selfishness that leaves people in a lemming-like rush over the cliff into destruction, leaving it to the next generation to helplessly try and cope with the spoils that we have enjoyed. It is a religious thing, it is a moral issue. It is religious because spirituality and the environment are very closely aligned. There was a very good text that you may look at from Francis. In a recent document, Laudatio Si, he said, "In the heart of this world, the Lord of life, who loves us so much, is always present. And the element of love sustaining the environment is very, very strong in the religious traditions. At the close of the 13th century, the beginning of the 14th, there were two individuals, one that lived in Persia, the other lived in northern Italy. One was a Christian, the other was a Muslim. The Muslim's name was Rumi, and the Christian's name was Dante. And both of them, saying almost exactly the same thing, identified the force of love as the basis of a healthy environmental context in which to live. Dante wrote, he spoke of the love that moves the sun and other stars, and Rumi wrote, know that it is waves of love that makes the wheel of the heavens turn. In the religious vision, the environment is not the commerce of utility. The environment is the commerce of love, exchange, and respect. Thank you for listening.
So Trupra has never been one to shrink from a justice issue. Whether it was apartheid in South Africa, targeted killings in Guatemala, the current refugee crisis across the Middle East and Europe, or kidnappings in Zimbabwe of human rights activists, we have spoken of. Climate change is the great injustice of our times, and this is why we are serious about this issue and committed to the issue. Politicians dither, protract, and fumble around the fate of our planet. The consequences are felt in the form of floods in Cork and drought in Malawi. In Malawi, where once small rural farmers could predict when it would rain, they now can't harvest their crops. Rains don't come and crops fails. I've been to visit some of these farmers in Malawi, and I've seen how what sounds like a simple thing, like a change in the weather patterns, a change in when it rains, can devastate communities, and an entire country can fall into drought. The consequences are lives lost, children die hungry, and the potential of a generation is lost. The great injustice of climate change is that those who have contributed the least, like farmers in Malawi, are at the sharp end of the worst consequences. We cannot stand by and watch this continue. Our political leaders had the will to rescue us from a banking crisis. They said the banks were too big to fail. But what about our planet, our sacred and precious home? Is this not too big to fail? The time has come to end the cycle and to transform our narrative to one of enough is enough. Now is the time for action. Every one of us here on the streets in Cork today is demanding a full and comprehensive and legally binding climate agreement. The poorest and most vulnerable cannot wait any longer. The principle of climate justice demands comprehensive and transformative action now. I want to finish on a quote from Pope Francis when he was in Nairobi last Thursday. He said, and I quote, "In a few days an important meeting on climate change will be held in Paris. In this international context, we are confronted with a choice which cannot be ignored. Either we improve or destroy the environment. Every step we take, whether large or small, individual or collective, in caring for creation opens a sure path for that generous and worthy creativity which brings out the best in human beings." And that generous and worthy creativity is evident in Cork here today. Thank you.
Woo!